Don't also forget that Iswap is an affiliate of ISIS, a breakaway faction of Boko Haram. So the operations of Boko Haram and Iswap are slightly different. They try to win the confidence of the locals. So that's the point I was making earlier, that government should concentrate on the locals, make them fill that governance gap, by providing social amenities, which the ISIS at Iswap is now provided just like the ISIS is doing. And if they have the confidence of the locals, they undermine government, they gladly pay tax to Iswap, and they operate freely. So the governor's concern is very, very much in line.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining me in today's broadcast. We have to discuss about a very important, worrisome issue. When you consider what is happening in Nigeria today, what baffles me is why the conspiracy of silence. Why is the government behaving as if there is nothing going on? There is a new government in Nigeria today. Some regions called Nigeria has been captured by the Islamic State of West African province. It is no longer an issue of denial or controversy. Why is the government silence about this development? Why is the media not addressing these issues of concern? Why? Why this conspiracy of silence? Why are they, showing some level of complicity over what is happening? Of recent, we saw how the biggest army base was overrun by the Islamic State of West African province. Why is the government of Ahmed Bola Tinubu not addressing the Nigerians on these developments? Is it a normal, of course, operations? It doesn't bother him. It is normal. Why are they not becoming aggressive against the expansion of the Islamic program to overrun the Nigerian state? Barely up to 4 or 5 of the military bases has been captured, overrun by these insurgents with a very defined motive and objective. They are running with providing boreholes and other basic amenities for the locals in order to win their minds, collecting taxes, the people willingly paying taxes to the new government rather than remitting it to the Nigerian coffers. And yet, nothing is being done. They freely operate. It's not that they don't know where their bases are. They freely operate. They freely carry out their activities, engagement with the locals. And yet, there's no declaration of the state of emergency in those regions. Why? That raises concern. Why this impartiality? We have seen what happened in Ukoma. We have seen the barbaric execution of 3 soldiers in Yobe State. That is an issue of concern. No state of emergency has been declared. If we are to be in the eastern region, they will bounce on the people, even without any provocation. We saw what is happening, the blockages, the roadblocks, and the intimidations, the harassments, and the forceful disappearances of the indigenous people of Biafra. But why is the government not being so ruthless on the invasion of the Nigerian sovereign states? Territorial sovereignty have been compromised, and yet the government is silent. What is just left now is to overrun Abuja and take over the seat of power by the Islamic State of West African province, which has an affiliation with IS, a terror base, an Islamic terror base, a terror group acclaimed to be terrorists. And the government is keeping quiet. Do we now say that the government is the terrorists? If there have been revelation by some officers who have served in the National Intelligence Bureau, just as this SDSS man has expressed concerns. They knew what is happening, but worried over the silence of the government, the ineptitudeness of the government, the lackadaisical or latent attitude being played in line along with what is happening. There is serious issues happening today. The US has indicted the Nigerian government or accused them and the military and the governors of aiding the killings of Christians, because when these people are being killed and the perpetrators of this heinous crime within the Nigerian jurisdiction are not brought to book, to justice, for the law to take its course, then it means that the government should be held responsible, because the government is saddled with the responsibility of ensuring orderliness, the protection of the citizens. Then when they fail in that primary responsibility, it implies that they should be held responsible for the continued killings here and there, yet the killers go scot-free at the end of every oppression. Where do they suddenly disappear? How do they get or invade those communities and states? Where do they launch the attack? From within Nigeria. Some knows, of course, their base, their locations, but could not get at them. They know their sponsor, just as the former president of Nigeria, while in office, said that the Boko Haram cabinet is within my cabinet members. Jonathan said it, that the Boko Haram are in his cabinet. It was also confirmed during Buhari's time. There are over 400 people that was accused of sponsoring terrorism, Boko Haram and the rest of them, yet the government could not go after them. So who is deceiving who? Who is responsible for this security? The government and these people within the corridor of power are complicit to what is happening. But unfortunately, we come out to blame the innocent civilians or use them as scapegoats, where they knew who they were sponsoring, who is behind, of course, the multi-billion oppression of these people. Lakurawa was giving $1 million for people to join, to be recruited. There are incentives, of course, to lure people into such art, which means this movement is not as a result of poverty. If they could have so much money to share, to procure ammunition, sophisticated weaponry, which they could launch unmanned military vehicles, drones, against Nigerian government and the security operatives. You know what that means? In any of these military bases that have been overrun, and of course deaths, several militaries dead, wounded, what happens to the ammunitions? They cut away with that, reinforcing themselves. It is quite unfortunate. Boko Haram takes over Nigerian main army base in Borno State. Many soldiers dead, wounded. That is the development. Why is Nigerian government under the watch of Ahmed Bola Tinubu silent about what is happening? Why has he not addressed, of course, Nigerians over this development? One should have expected, just as he did in Okoma and the rest of them, to have been proactive, or declare the state of emergency within those regions. But that is not coming forth. That raises concern that what is happening is premeditated, intentional, and part of the program to overrun the country. Well, if he happens to be a Muslim, it is not out of place. If he should be accused of persecuting the Christians or aiding his conspiracy of silence and ineptitudeness on addressing the continued massacre and killing of Christians across board, implies that he is culpable or complicit of whatever is happening. It's quite unfortunate that what is happening in Nigeria today is not a surprise. This is the reason why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have raised concerns, have called and awakened the consciousness of so many ethnic nationalities over what is playing out. But some people decide to attack him, to hurt him for saying the truth. Today, the truth is staring at us, that a whole military base will be overrun in a state. This is about 4 of them at this time within just the shortest possible time, and nobody is asking questions. The time is ticking. The time bomb will definitely explode. It's just a matter of time. You know what it means? Overrunning just a single military base. All the ammunitions, armors, of course, within those military bases will be carted away with. No resistance, no reinforcement. And they will use it to, of course, advance their cause. That is quite sad, very unfortunate. What are we saying? What is happening? With all this development, why are people still accusing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, accusing Simon Ekpa, accusing Sunday Igboho, who have seen, of course, the end from the beginning? That one day Nigeria will wake up only to discover that the country is gone. The country is now in the hands, in the grip of the Islamic State of West African Province, or the Boko Haram that have been calling, whose objective and mission is to Islamize Nigeria. It would be a surprise if such happens, because with the foregoing and what is happening, with the military, of course, engagements, killing of the military, reducing the military strength, systematically but consistently sustained, then it means they are heading somewhere. If they could overrun more than 4 military army bases, of course, the Jaji Nigerian Defense Academy was attacked during Buhari's time. You know, the billions naira worth of ammunition that was carted away. Nobody is asking about this. No state of emergency declared. What then do we say over this development? Let's have your own take over this reality. But don't be surprised if Nigeria is overrun in the night, just to wake up to see that Nigeria is now in the hands of a terror group known as either Boko Haram or the Islamic State of West African Province. It's a disturbing development, but some people keep living in denial of the current realities. What keep living in denial? P2B, the former ex-governors, the former presidential of the former presidents are speaking out, but that is not enough. Saying that Nigeria has collapsed, Nigeria is not working, nothing is working, but something is definitely working. The Islamic State of West African Province, the Boko Haram, are building more frontiers, advancing, conquering more grounds, expanding, coming to take over military base, You know what that means? They cut away with the ammunitions, fortifying themselves for the final onslaught. That would definitely lead to the declaration of war. I mean, the Iswap declaring war on the Nigerian states, haven't moved their missionaries across board. You can see what is happening in the southwest, in the east, in the south-south. The south-south are crying, the southeast are crying, women and men are crying over the invasion of the military of the Islamics, the Fulanis. These are not just Fulanis, but militias. These are mercenaries advancing the cause. They are south-south. Even they do Delta, everybody is lamenting. Fulanis are taking over, surrounding the entire southern region, because they knew definitely the north is on the way of total subjugation, including the Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, is not left out with what is going on. So definitely there could be a time they will signal and declare total war, and we take the people unaware. That is just what is happening. My major concern is that the South is sleeping, and definitely might definitely end up becoming the sleep of death. Because if they have calculatively, consistently moving their missionaries, their bases, expanding their bases in Osun State, in Oyo is a no-go area, Kwara is already conquered. Of course, Osun State is in a serious fierce battle. Enugu is nowhere to, of course, it has become an issue of concern. So what will happen next is just a signal, and then total takeover. They will come out from the bush, from the street, and the local will hijack the entire process. People will not move. They will hijack, of course, travelers and go to their dwelling places, their houses, and begin to slaughter them. By then, they will know that it's too late. This is not a matter of joke. People who have seen the realities, the former CBN Deputy Governor, the late Melafia, exposed it. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have said it. So it won't be a surprise what we are seeing today unfolding before all and sundry, and yet people decide to still fight those who should have defended them, who should have protected them and their entire posterity. It's quite unfortunate, but the reality keeps staring at us. Let's continue to watch. Let's continue to fold our hands until definitely everyone is overrun and subdued. Well, let's have your take on this development. It's very unfortunate, but these are realities, undeniable realities, facts and figures. Unfortunately, the same governments who denies, who criticizes those seeking for self-determination and self-preservation, who fights and clamp down on people who want to preserve their own life, human dignity and posterity, their cultural heritage and belief system, are being attacked, while those pulling down the Nigerian structure, breaking the Nigerian defense structure, are being celebrated today. It's a very disturbing development. Let's have your take on this.